How's it going, everybody? Happy Friday. I wanted to let everybody know, in the spirit of things, that home prices are actually declining in Nashville. And when I say Nashville, I'm really referring to Davidson County because that is really Nashville proper. People out in Murfreesboro don't exactly consider themselves Nashville residents. So the metro is enormous. There's 14 counties. And by the way, some version of the trend that you're seeing on the screen right now is likely exist in those areas too. It's just really the rate of change that may be just a little different. Uh, what we're looking at here are the Redfin weekly real estate numbers. This is a 4-week rolling average of a handful of metrics, and it's for all property types, as I've noted up here. And you'll see the duration 4-week average down here. And I just wanted to remind everybody that I've actually given you guys access for free to the monthly Redfin real estate numbers. In fact, that data goes back even farther than this. This data only goes back to 2017. And that information is even cut by property type. But the reason I like to look at this weekly data series is because it's just a tad more timely. This is through April 20th of 2025. So really, not only is the sales price per square foot down, so is obviously the price. I've had several people say, well, hey, you're not looking at that right. And what about new construction? What about single family? And isn't that? And it's all just excuses, okay? And I will just say, in general, all right, we are a single family market. If you look at like inventory and what sells, it's going to be predominantly something like single family. And that only makes sense because, from a structural standpoint, that's what it represents pretty much the majority. And I would hope that would only make sense that it would flow through a number like the median sales price. I would hope that's kind of intuitive. And this is only sort of logical if you take a holistic approach and you look at all of the things that would potentially cause something like active listings to move higher and ultimately put downward pressure on home prices. And like the labor market data, it just looks terrible. Permitting obviously does not look great. Obviously, the mortgage data does not look good either. So there's just not a housing shortage. When you ask people even what that means, they're kind of like not not exactly prepared for a follow up question, which I always think is kind of funny. But yeah, hey, better to know than not know. This active listings, that's going to go way higher. Um, there's just too many homes. We just have had a temporary allocation issue, and for the sake of transparency, now we're looking at a 12-week rolling average, and so it's just a little smoother on the chart, as you'll see down here in the median sales price and the sales price per square foot year over year. It's just an enormous dead cat bounce that's really related to BTFP. And now it's negative again. Here's the 1 week, right? There's just more chop. I mean, the more duration, the smoother it is. And let me just also make just a couple more comments, and that is on here, something like YouTube or Twitter, typically what I'm showing is just aggregator data, something like Redfin, Zillow, even Realtor.com. And they're all helpful, okay? You obviously have to look at a variety of different metrics to make sure you are looking at it correctly. But just understand that I also look at like transaction level data and trend that stuff way back in time. I mean, well before even GFC. So all these comments about just, hey, that's not the right interpretation is just flat out wrong, okay? And I'll just speak to a couple of those trends that you're seeing. And that is, in terms of square footage, you're talking about anything between 1,800 to 2,000 square feet is closing. As I said earlier, we are a single family market. Predominantly, what is selling is going to be your site built HPR detached homes. 3 to 4 bedrooms is really the sweet spot. And what's interesting is, as of late, you're actually seeing existing home sales contribute to overall sales, even though sales and volumes are quite low. It's grabbing a larger share, and that is a very important trend if you follow housing at all. So, yeah, you guys are just a bunch of liars who are trying to see what you want to see. This whole thing just is unwinding at varying rates of change as all of this stimulus just wears off. I mean, quit being naive. So, while I'm at it, we'll go and look at Williamson County because I think people are under the impression that it's all these California people moving in and they're all paying cash and this and that. And that's just objectively false. Maybe true in the margin, but it's not in the aggregate. So, as you can see, the great COVID, population reshuffle is now unwinding. So, but what's interesting down here, if you look at something like the sales price and the price per square foot, they seem to be diverging somewhat. And you can see that they generally sort of trend together. And that is because just smaller homes are selling out in Williamson County. And if you want to talk about some ugly looking mortgage data, it's out there in Williamson. I mean, people seem to have like sold their, soul to just get out in a place like Williamson County so they can have access to good public schools, I guess. Kind of crazy. But anyway, those are the county, just a couple counties in the Nashville metro. Why don't we just look at, well, here's all Redfin metros, and you'll see that really like active listings moves lower, really right around a COVID, and now it's moving higher. And you're basically seeing really the same trends you saw locally at a national level. That should only make sense. And now let me just move quickly over to Nashville Metro. And as you can see, it is literally the same trend that you saw in Davidson and Williamson, no different. So this is the 4-week average. And actually the sales price on a year-over-year basis is just slightly negative. And of course, it would take a sustained period of, say, like month over month or even year over year declines for that to meaningfully show up in the price. But once you start looking at all the variables that could potentially influence something like the price coming down, it's not a bold call at all to expect home prices to move down from here. And it's not just a condo or whatever issue that people are trying to chalk this up to, as I tried to really point out earlier. So anyway, let me just quickly jump over here to some metrics that you can really track across and compare across markets. Percentage of active listings with price drops, and then weeks of supply. Think of this as months of supply, but this is just a weekly data series. And this is just going to render a tad differently because, again, it's weekly. So what you'll see is that price drops are moving up really late 2022. And then it, of course, sort of like, unwound because of BTFP, and we're off to the races, and we successfully kicked the can 2 years down the road and accomplished nothing. So look, I'll just kind of click through some of this so maybe you can see those trends a little easier. All right. What do you know? Your world. So, yeah, guys, it is what it is. Look, the reason I do this really and truly is because I'm really sick and tired of all these liars, man. And, realtors, lenders, you guys have had a good run, but you have gotten away with murder borderline. I mean, it's just, this is so insanely like ass backwards. We don't have anything remotely close to resembling capitalism at this point. This is nothing but a liquidity pump, and we're propping up the wealth effect really at the expense of everything else. So, yeah. So we got that going for us, which is nice. Anyway, I'll shut up. Have a good one, guys.